Okay, coming in with turn 2, Twilight Struggle Game 4. Take a look at the board. Europe is split down the middle, no domination. In the Middle East, the Americans have presence because of Iran, and thus are closer to domination than the Russians. And in Asia, we have another split down the middle, 3 versus 3 battlegrounds. So no difference there. The VP show a 2-point lead for the Americans. That doesn't really mean much, I would say. Let's take a look at the hands. Russian hand 2, 5-year plan. UN intervention, which are 2 cards we held from turn 1. And then containment. US gains +1 to all ops this turn. Capture Nazi scientist, advanced player, space race, marker 1 box. Truman Doctrine, remove all Soviet influence in one uncontrolled country in Europe. Special relationship, if UK is US controlled, NATO is not in effect. US adds 1 influence to any country adjacent to the UK. Europe scoring, and defectors, which cancels the Soviet headline card. Not a lot going on with this hand. There's not really a lot we can do with what we've got. We've just got to kind of mitigate damage, to be honest. We can always use 5-year plan, which forces it to discard a card, but the effect activates, and so we don't want that either. Kind of the only strategy I see with this hand is maybe try and threaten France. Europe scoring is yet to be played. We have to play it. It's right here. It's really the only thing I can do. I'm thinking about a headline card. Maybe Europe scoring is headline card, but there's so many cards in the deck that we haven't seen yet. East European Unrest and Marshall Plan, to name a few, which are over here. But we don't know that. That can affect the position in Europe. So I'm not sure what the headline's going to be. Maybe we'll come back to that. The Americans, to the contrary, have an excellent hand, as well as the China card, so nothing but good stuff there. Suez Crisis, which we held from last turn because of blockade, which, as we see, we still need to keep an eye out for because we don't have it. Duck and Cover, degrade DEFCON 1 level, then US player earns VP equal to 5 minus current DEFCON level, which is a good way to get the DEFCON marker down to 2. To negate the Russians' coup. Socialist governments remove U.S. influence in Western Europe by a total of 3, removing no more than 2 per country. De Gaulle leads France, remove 2 U.S. influence in France, add 1 Soviet influence. Nuclear test ban, player earns VP equal to current DEFCON level -2, then improve DEFCON 2 levels. Marshall Plan allows play of NATO, add 1 in 7 non-USSR controlled Western European countries. East European Unrest, remove 1 USSR influence from 3 countries in Eastern Europe. Destalinization, USSR may relocate up to 4 influence points to non-US controlled countries. No more than 2 per country. This is a spectacular hand for the Americans, and as the Americans, we're going to look to try and really gain some ground with these cards. Soviets have really quite a bad hand. We need to pick a headline card. I was thinking before Europe scoring, but we're worried about cards that affect Europe, so maybe not that. The only other real option, Capture Nazi Scientist. That's probably going to be the after-baby choice. It's the only one. That's the only one I see, anyway. As a note, in the last turn, when the Soviets played decolonization, I put 1 in Laos, Cambodia. I was kind of searching for somewhere else to put it. I really should have put it in Algeria for the French access, but we've done that. We've gone through that, but as a point of strategy, putting a point in Algeria with decolonization is always a good idea, I say. American headline card, a lot of choices. I was worried about the Iranian coup. That's why I put 2 there. I'm still worried about it. Always could happen. So that's kind of a good headline card, I say. We've got so many ops to work with that us losing 3 ops is worth it with degrading DEFCON 1 level. This would be interesting if we were trying to take East Germany, like if Warsaw Pact had been played. Has Warsaw Pact been played? No, it has not. Not permanently, anyway. So yeah, we're worried about Warsaw Pact. We don't want to try and play into East Europe just yet. So I'd rather use a lot of these for the ops. I think I'm going to headline Duck and Cover. That seems like a good idea. So same time, Duck and Cover occurs first. Not only does it degrade the DEFCON level, which negates the Russians' first coup, which is always a good thing. And also, we also get 3 VP, which gives us a total of 5. Okay, and then the Russian headline card, Capture Nazi Scientist. Space race marker goes up 1 box because we're the first one to the box. Russians gain 2 VP. So, up to 3. First turn for the Russians. We can't take the first coup. There's no such thing anymore. So, I see Europe scoring. I think what I would like to do is threaten France. I think that's going to help quite a bit. I'm going to use defectors. The effect happens first regardless. The US gets 1 VP because I'm playing defectors. And we're going to spend 2 points to put 1 into Italy. It doesn't break control, but it threatens France. Okay, American turn. We've got a lot to do. Got a lot to do here. I think best thing to do, 4 points, easy. We're going to do 4 points, and we're going to take France with 4 BVP. We know we have Charles de Gaulle, so we're not afraid of it. We can use it. Yes, so that kind of backfired on the Russians. Let's see. Not a lot we can work with. Let's see. What am I interested in doing? I'm interested in taking 1 more country. Man, there's just not a lot we can do. This is what I would like to do. I would like to use Special Relationship, which is two ops. I'm going to take Greece, because 1, we're looking for Brush War later. Oh, well, I guess Brush War didn't affect that. If we take it back, we want... It's always good to have adjacent countries because brush war and realignments and all that. Anyway, the effect happens. NATO's not in effect, but the US gets 1 influence point in a country adjacent to the UK, which is going to be France. Okay. The Americans' turn. Still got a lot to do here. I see that the Russians took Greece, which makes me think they're trying to get more countries to try and break my domination. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take another country. Actually, what I can do is I can mitigate this damage actually a lot easier now. So Suez Crisis is a total of 4 influence points. Actually, I can't entirely mitigate that, so let's not do that quite yet. What we can do is play East European Unrest, which I would like to do now. I will take Spain, Portugal. And 1 point I will put in the UK. Because I see I have Suez Crisis in my hand and I'm going to play it. But I want to be able to come out ahead on that. So, East European Unrest, done. Alright, Russians' turn. The Russians see that Europe is kind of a lost cause. We're going to have to play Europe scoring. That's going to be 5 points for the Americans. We see the Americans do have domination. That's 4 more points than for presence. And 1 more battleground is 5 VP. So moving it up to 7 lead for the Americans. That's rough. I've seen that. I've got all these Europe cards here I want to get rid of. I'm thinking actually Marshall Plan is a good idea. 4 ops, I think. Because in order to mitigate de Gaulle and mitigate Suez Crisis and mitigate socialist governments, I need these points. However, which is better? I could use Marshall Plan for the effect, which should give you 5, 6, 4, 7. Actually, I think I will use Marshall Plan for the effect. It actually does quite a bit. So I'll put 1 in West Germany. Is there another 6 tile? I don't think so. I think there's only 1. Okay, well, there's a 7. I'll need that. Anywho, 6. That's 3, 4, 5. Put 1 in Finland. 6. I'm going to put 1 in Austria because it's adjacent to East Germany. That gets face down. The Russians' turn. The Russians still not really looking good here. Yeah, it's rough. God. 5-year plan is the worst. I'm going to use UN intervention. I'd like to hold UN intervention, but I'd rather use 6 ops as opposed to 3, which forces me to discard this. 3 ops. I'm going to take Iraq. Actually, I'm going to take Israel. It's a stronger battleground. Alright, Americans, here we go. Suez Crisis then. The effect can happen first. 2 is removed from France, and 2 is removed from the UK. So we will put, then with our 3 ops, we will put 1 back into the UK, and we will put the 2 back out of France. So it cancels itself. We lose a total of 1 in the UK. So that's done. Alright, the Russians. Let's see, it's going to have to be this Truman Doctrine, 1 point. I'm looking over here. I know the Americans have the China card. I see Thailand is undefensible at the moment, so I'm going to put another point in Thailand, making it safer. Truman Doctrine occurs. The Americans choose to take 1 out of Italy because it's sorry, never mind. It's 1 uncontrolled country, so actually, you're going to do, like it matters, Finland, I suppose. Alright, the Americans' turn. We're going to try and mitigate de Gaulle now. Let's see. Remove 2, U.S. influence, so basically the Russians are going to get 1, and we're going to put our 2 back that we lost. And we'll have 1 more point to put in Canada, I think. Actually, let's look. You know what? Asia is relatively, or Europe is relatively safe right now. We need to look at the rest of the board. Middle East. We always need more stuff going on there. I'm going to use that 1 extra point. I'm going to put it in Afghanistan, actually, because it nets us, makes your Asia scoring a net positive for us. Okay, last turn for the Russians. It's going to be 3 ops. The Russians will take now Iraq. Alright. US has 1 + 1 to the ops on their last play. Their last play is going to be socialist governments. Now, see, socialist governments are going to get reshuffled. I'd really rather use de-Stalinization. Although I also don't want the Russians to relocate, so I don't think we're going to be able to capitalize much on that +1. We're going to have to play socialist governments. The Russians will move a total of 3 from Western Europe. So we're going to have 4 ops now because we get +1 from containment. So we're going to put the 3 back that the Russians take out, since we can do that pretty much anywhere. Actually, hold on. The Russians are going to actually take this 1 out of Turkey, first of all. 1 out of Finland, and 1 out of Italy. Okay, so 1 out of Italy. We can put the 1 in Italy back as the Americans, so we're going to do that. We're going to have a total of 4. We can't put the 1 in Turkey and Finland back because we don't have any access. But we do have 2 ops with which to work now. Yeah, that's interesting. We have 2 ops now with which to work. Yeah, I don't know if that's strategically a good idea for the Russians. It's actually better to make them use the points. So we're actually, yeah, we're going to renege on that. So we've got those 2. So the Russians will take 2 from West Germany and 1 from Italy, and then the Americans will have to spend 3 ops to put those back, and then we'll have only 1 op to play with. What will the Americans do? The Americans have 1 op. We'd really like to get into, the other regions, but I think we want the access to the countries. We want to try to get as close to Egypt and Libya as possible. So I'm thinking 1 point in Jordan is best. taking Turkey doesn't do much. We have domination of Europe. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. That was the end of the round. Containment's done. There we go. All right, there were no ops this turn. So, nobody loses anything, nobody gains anything. This goes up for the next turn. We've got one held card over here. U.S. did not play the China card, so we've got that next turn. That's good. And turn marker goes to turn 3, and we'll deal the card, then come back with turn 3.